Let's talk about Aaliyah's second album. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do another album discussion. This time I wanted to talk about Aaliyah's second album, One in a Million. If you haven't checked it out yet, I talked about Aaliyah's self-titled album. I'm gonna leave it right here. Let's go. So going off of Aaliyah's first album, right? I feel like this album was promoted better than her self-titled, and the single selections was a little bit better, especially. And with this second album, Aaliyah had a lot to prove because she was in the position where she was kind of getting like blackballed because of the whole R. Kelly situation. So, and it was like that sophomore jinx of like, okay, her first album was good. Is she going to follow up? Is she going to flop? Is she going to maintain her relevancy, or was Aaliyah just like a one-hit wonder, one album wonder? But with this album, she really proved people wrong, and she showed out, especially with the help of Timbaland and Missy, and she had like Jermaine Dupri, but specifically Timbaland and Missy. She's really the one who like put them on because they were new producers and songwriters, and a lot at that time, the big stars like Aaliyah and stuff, they wanted to work with known producers, known writers. But that's the thing, Aaliyah was willing to take risks. Aaliyah was willing to give people opportunities, and she was able to give credit where it's due. You know what I'm saying? Like, she wasn't that type to take credit for everything. So, and she was willing to give people chances, and it worked in her favor and Timbaland and Missy's favor because this album was a groundbreaking album. From the production, songwriting, and all with everything they did with that album, it's considered to be one of the groundbreaking albums of the 90s to redefine R&B, bringing in that electric sound, urban pop sound, you know what I'm saying? But when I look closely into that album, there's some things that worked into Aaliyah's favor, and then there's some things that could have been better, like better decisions could have been made as far as the promo. But when I think about it, Aaliyah, and another thing with this album is that this was the album where Aaliyah was able to perform the most. This is the album where she performed the songs the most, and this is where when people look online for Aaliyah live performances, this album and the songs on this album are the songs that she's performing the most, where people judge her live performances and if she could really sing and how good of a performer she was. And most of these songs were like slow or mid-tempo, and this is the thing I was telling you about, where like Aaliyah had to transfer that type of song. She had to transfer that type of song into a live performance, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, and she was still finding the balance of making these songs that were so different sounding sound great when it's performed live. And it didn't really hit me until somebody commented on my first video about Aaliyah's self-titled album that Aaliyah's label really held her back in performing the songs live. Like, for example, these are songs were on the radio and just in general and the singles. Why Aaliyah should have performed at more award shows? Why didn't Aaliyah perform at least one of those songs at the 97 Soul Train Awards? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not making sense. She was nominated, and I think she even won, but she didn't perform none of the songs at the Soul Train Awards. Now, they were good with she performed in talk shows and stuff like that, but she could have performed at more award shows throughout her career, and I feel like that would have garnered her more public attention, more success. She already had success, but like I said before, to garner her more public success, they should have had it to where she was scheduled to perform at more award shows. Now, going on to the single selections and the promotional choices, they did great. I had to look it up just to make sure I got the right details and the right timeline. Going with the single choices, they did great because they released "If Your Girl Only Knew" verse. That's successful. It went gold, and it peaked at number 11 on the charts too, which is pretty good. It's not my favorite Aaliyah video, but the video was dope too. However, now this is a problem with the album I had, right? they released "Got to Give It Up" as a second single choice. That did not need to be a single. Like, I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't even think this is an unpopular opinion. "Got to Give It Up" was a cool song, but that did not need to be a single. And they even made a music video for that. Are you kidding me? Like, that song was cool and all, but it didn't need to be a single, and it didn't need a music video. That was a wasted music video Aaliyah could have did on any other one of her songs. Like, for example, a song she didn't do a music video for, "Heartbroken," "I Got Your Back," "Everything's Gonna Be Alright." One of those could have been her "Choosy Lover." The remake of the Isley Brothers song, she could have did a video for that. One of those could have been a single. But they chose to release "Got to Give It Up" as a single, and they released a video for it? No. Another thing is, if you didn't know, in the Japanese version of the album, it was a song called "No Days Go By." This song, "No Days Go By," sounds better than at least 3 other songs on the album that were like album cuts. And that could have easily been a single. I could easily hear "No Days Go By" on the radio, things like that. They decided to release it as the bonus track on the Japanese version of the album. That could have easily been on the album and been a single. And I could see Aaliyah doing a music video for that. But y'all released "Got to Give It Up" as a second single, and y'all wasted a video doing it. That's one bad decision I think they made. Next, okay, the next thing, okay, next single was "One in a Million," classic, legendary. The video was classic, legendary. We all know that. 4-page letter, classic, legendary. Now, the problem that I ran into is the last few single choices. They released "Hot Like Fire" and "The One I Gave My Heart To," but they released it like simultaneously, because when they released "Hot Like Fire" and "The One I Gave My Heart To" at the same time, "The One I Gave My Heart To" took off, and it kind of left "Hot Like Fire" in the dust. But I feel like "Hot Like Fire" was fire. So that song, I could easily see the remix version of that song, the one they use in the video. I could easily see that song becoming like, if not top 10, top 20, or at least top 5 on the R&B charts. So I feel like if they would have released "The One I Gave My Heart To" and "Hot Like Fire" separately instead of like simultaneously as like a double side single, then "Hot Like Fire" could have been another hit for Aaliyah. The video was a hit, and it's known to the fans as a hit, but it didn't really chart that well. And another thing is, the album versions of "Hot Like Fire" and "The One I Gave My Heart To," I feel like those didn't even need to exist. This is my opinion. The video versions, the versions they use in the video, the versions they use in the videos of "Hot Like Fire" and "The One I Gave My Heart To," those should have been on the album. You listen to the album versions of each of those songs, and I don't want to say it's trash, but it's like the "Hot Like Fire" album version is real slow and wah wah wah, but the remix version that Timbaland did, to me, that should have been the only version that exists. To be honest, it's hot, it's catchy, it's everything. Like, it's a reason why they used that version for the video. So why did y'all put that on the album? And then they had the nerve to put "Hot Like Fire," the album version, as the first track after the intro. Really? So when people listen to the intro, the first song they heard on Aaliyah's album was "Hot Like Fire," the album version. When the video version of the song was way better. Now, this is just my opinion, but I feel like a lot of people agree.
My opinion, right? Okay. Now,
same thing with "The One I Gave My Heart To." To me, the video version of "The One I Gave My Heart To," Aaliyah's vocals and the vocal arrangement and production of the song is way better. But for some reason, they had a different version for the album. And it's like, y'all used a version of the song for the video. Why not keep that version on the album? Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, the album was successful. It went double platinum in under a year. But, you know, certain single choices and stuff, just looking back on it, where you just evaluate everything, you look at the choices and how everything turned out, certain choices, promotional choices, could have propelled the album into even more success. But for what it was pretty good. And I feel like that album promotion had better things going on than her self-titled, especially with the first single choice being If Your Girl You Knew, and that took off, went gold. That was pretty good. But along the way, it's like they made little decisions that prevented the album from being even more successful than it already was. But anyways, that was just my little spiel on Aaliyah's second album, One in a Million, and just my thoughts on it. That was a groundbreaking album. Aaliyah really proved people wrong with that album, and she made history with that album. And her, Timbaland, and Missy made a great team. She helped to put them on. They helped Aaliyah redefine R&B with that album. And as a trio, all three collectively, they all made their mark in the industry with that album. And it proved to be Aaliyah's breakthrough, especially considering all the scandal and stuff and controversy that followed her first. So that was just, my evaluation of the album. And as I feel like this was Aaliyah's best promoted album, but there were still some things that could have been tweaked and changed to make the album even more successful. But that's just my opinion. What are y'all opinions on Aaliyah's One in a Million album? What are y'all favorite songs from the album? What did y'all think about the promotional choices from that album? Do y'all agree with me on my opinions of the album and things they could have fixed to make the album even more successful? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can always see when I post. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video.